We're here in the BNB Chain Infium Founders Academy with Satoshi's Index, and Kevin and Lennox, the two co-founders, will tell us a little bit more about this venture.
Awesome. Thank you, Mariana. So my name is Lennox Metzinde. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Satoshi's Index. I'm joined by my co-founder, Kevin, who I will let introduce himself in a little bit here. And we are going to be walking you through Satoshi's Index and why we think this is an exciting venture to launch in this particular bear market as we prepare for the bull market. My background is in software engineering, went to school for computer science, and I've spent most of my career building products for Fortune 500 companies, and most recently leading Web3 initiatives for Starbucks corporate. Kevin, I'll kick it off to you for your intro.
Thanks, Lennox. Hey, everyone. My name is Kevin Villatoro. After undergrad, I got my Series 7, was in the finance field for a little bit, then jumped ship to marketing. Around that time, I also discovered crypto. So this was about 10 years ago. It's been trading ever since. And really, this idea came to us a few years ago when we really wanted to create something new and exciting for the market to really help investors maximize their gains over the long run. Bear markets, bull markets, this works in all of those. So with that, we can jump in.
Yeah, and I'll kick us off with really the statement of the problem. So, as many that are on this call probably know at this point, crypto has been the wild, wild west. Not a lot of people have gotten a firm grasp on how to successfully exist in this ecosystem, and even the most experienced people tend to lose money. What we set out to do was create a solution that would allow us to marry tried and tested investing solutions that have existed in the world of equities and other assets. Marry that with the gains and volatility that are unlocked when you start investing in alternative assets like crypto. What we found was there weren't a lot of long-term investing solutions for cryptocurrency investors. And most people that went down the rabbit hole of investing in crypto ended up being left to their own devices, having to do research on what coins to purchase. And the majority of people end up buying into ecosystems that aren't profitable or ecosystems that go to zero, coins that aren't reputable. So continuing to pull on that thread, a lot of investors also tend to seek out index style investing products because of their ease of use. They're easy to understand and they're inherently diversified. So that was a good place for us to start because we realized there weren't a ton of those options out there on the market. Another thing we looked at was this idea of investment automation. It exists in equities and via robo advisors and other solutions, but in the world of crypto, there is a small set of companies that are starting to service this sub niche of automated money managers. But even then, there are not a lot of solutions or options. The few that do exist are either super cumbersome to onboard into, where you need to already understand crypto, understand how to put together different strategies. So for the common person who maybe doesn't have the know-how or the time, even that becomes a barrier to entry. So that's how we started to frame the opportunity. You want to go to the next slide, Kevin? So really what this statement encapsulates what we set out to do. Bring easy, responsible, successful crypto investing to everyone. Similar to a 401k, because a lot of investors are familiar with the concept of a 401k or an index fund. They're familiar with the idea of socking away a little bit of money at a predetermined cadence. So we wanted to bring that same mindset or investing mentality to crypto in as easy to understand a way as possible. And that's what Satoshi's Index is. So just some quick bullet points here. We leverage dollar cost averaging as the primary, I guess you call it like primary strategy that we use to invest because it's tried and tested, whether it's equities, precious metals, or whatever you look at. For the majority of investors out there, a DCA strategy is going to outperform any other strategy that you take on, primarily because the few that end up beating the market, whether it's via quant trading or other advanced strategies, those options or investing options are typically not accessible to the majority of investors. When we launched this product, our primary target was retail investors, because they are the segment that's typically underserved when you start talking about advanced wealth management solutions. You typically have to have, a certain amount of net worth, et cetera, to really get into the advanced products that yield great returns. So we want to create something that the everyday person can use, gain exposure to the upside of crypto by holding a diversified portfolio of the most promising and profitable tokens or currencies. The other cool thing about our platform, we noticed how a lot of our competitors or a lot of products or options that were out there required you to relinquish custody of both your fiat and your tokens, your crypto. And in this world where we see all kinds of intermediaries collapse and banks collapse and exchanges collapse, more and more people are realizing not your keys, not your crypto. So we wanted to create a solution that left as much of that power in the customer's hands as possible. So we're not a custodian. We don't hold custody of your fiat or your crypto. Our platform leverages algorithms and API integrations to execute trades on your funds that you hold, that you have being custodied by various exchanges in your custodial wallet. Once those trades are executed, you have the option to immediately transfer your holdings into cold storage. So eventually, we'll get to this in later slides, but we do have plans to create an even more decentralized version of this. Currently, we leverage integrations to centralized exchanges where, again, your assets are held, but you do have the option to immediately move those to cold storage, unlike other options on the market where they need you to invest your money and then they invest it for you, so you don't actually have access to the coins. Right now, we have two different modes or two different pathways into our ecosystem. One is a paid subscription where you can use a credit card, and the other is an NFT license.
So Lennox talks a little bit about the returns associated with index funds, how they can typically beat actively managed funds. There's some great stats that S&P has put out there. Something like 90% of active managers can't beat the market, right? So what we're seeing here is a comparison of different market following indexes. One for stocks, the S&P 500, one for crypto, Bitwise, which actually is no longer accepting outside private capital, and then Satoshi's index. So the returns here from Satoshi's index are about 2x that of Bitcoin, which is a stat that we shared at the previous slide. So historically, the returns are quite strong, right? Obviously, we can't predict what's happening moving forward. And especially in bear runs, I think the returns for any crypto fund will be quite low. But when the bull market comes around, it certainly has a history of beating that of the traditional market. So this is just a quick recap of how the product works, because we described what the product does, but really it's pretty simple. A user would set up their account. They can access that account via paid subscription with their credit card or through an NFT, which is actually how we essentially crowdfunded this project and this company last year. We sold several hundred NFTs, which granted users licenses to use our product. Once the user has an account, they can pair their account with their Binance, Coinbase, whatever exchange account that they're using at the moment. We currently support Binance US, Binance International, and Coinbase, but more are coming soon. And then finally, once that's done, the tool will dollar cost average invest into an index of the top coins every week or month, whatever cadence that the user prefers. And as Lennox mentioned, we're not a custodian. So this causes a lot of ease with users because they know that liquidity is instant. They can sell their coins anytime they want. They can move their coins to their own personal private wallets. They have a lot of freedom when it comes to what to do with their coins. So that's product one. product two and additional products later down the line is really expanding our retail investing tool offering, incorporating things like AI-based trading strategies. And then after that, really branching away from B2C and moving more towards B2B solutions. These products will be entirely different than what we've created thus far. These institutional type products are something that we've been thinking about and a lot of people have been asking us about, but we haven't had time to build yet. So that's something we're definitely considering. And as far as the proprietary tech that we built so far, so we are the first fintech company to use NFTs for software license. There's a great article on Yahoo Finance that outlines this. We have developed a custom authentication mechanism, which leverages smart contracts. These are the things that I was talking about earlier whenever users were able to purchase an NFT and grant access to our platform through that NFT. So the authentication process that we've built determines if that user is holding that NFT, and if not, they don't have access to our platform any longer. For example, if they sell it, there is like an 8% secondary market fee that we've associated with that action. So if someone does sell their NFT for whatever reason, we do recoup a little bit off the back of that. But also it's just to ensure that the user is holding the NFT, and if they don't, they can't access the platform. It's as simple as that.
I'll jump in real quick on this market sizing slide. So this is probably my favorite slide in this deck, just because I think it's one thing to talk about the solution, it's one thing to talk about the problem, right? But I think when you look at the market that we're entering into and the size, it really adds a lot more color and context towards why a business like this is viable, especially as we start to add more products and our feature set becomes more rich. So the way we went about reviewing or analyzing the market we're going after, like anyone else, looked at our TAM, SAM, and our SOM, and I'll start from the top. The cool thing about creating a product that services a very specific demographic of humans, for example, people that invest in crypto, is, it's fairly straightforward, right? To get a pretty confident number of what the market looks like. So we started out with the top 20 crypto exchanges around the world, and we found about 427 million people are registered on these crypto exchanges. And you'll notice any dollars that we have in here, we use the assumption of our base monthly costs, which is $20 a month that's how much our subscription costs. We use that and extrapolated it out over the course of a year. Again, this is the entire sun or the entire ocean, but assuming we were to grab the entire market, 108 billion is the revenue we would grab. SAM and SOM, as we continue to refine our market, of those 427 million registered users on crypto exchanges, top 20 crypto exchanges across the world, about 66 million are active every month. That means they're buying crypto, they're logging in to some capacity to whether Coinbase or Binance or whatever that is, and they're purchasing crypto at least once a month. If we were to grab all of those people, we're talking about close to 16 billion in revenue. Now, obviously, those two, again, still outlandish numbers that relatively difficult to capture that size of the market. If we were to drill down into just a really more focused subcategory, which is the segment of investors that lean towards automated money management solutions like robo-advisors. So the stat that we pulled was, only about 1% of traditional investors use robo-advisors. However, as we put there, 63% of these investors are open to trying them. So, for the sake of being conservative, we stuck with that 1% estimate and landed at about 660,000 users that are actively investing in crypto and are open to automated money management solutions. So That I think is the actual market that we're going after. As we start to as we continue to do a little bit more competitor analysis, looking at other folks in our ecosystem and how much traction they've gained, and the amount of time it took them to gain that traction, that 660K number is pretty accurate. So that is the market that we're going after. All things being considered, it's $158 million a year opportunity for someone that's able to position themselves as the go-to to service this industry. And again, this is just people looking for smarter ways of buying crypto. No fancy, complicated, DeFi stuff, and it's just people wanting help buying crypto.
Competition. So total transparency, we're actually going to completely redo this slide. We realize that low cost is probably not the best indicator, but really performance might be a better indicator. What these types of companies and competitors perform historically. Obviously, we can't look into the future, but how we stack up via performance. So the x-axis is still true. Certain competitors need more of a manual lift to get involved. So things like 3Commas, which is a trading bot software company, requires a ton of manual lifting. You have to know how to program your own trading bot. You have to know what type of strategy you want to utilize. There's a lot of steps. And then as we go further to the right of the x-axis, the companies get a little bit easier to activate within, but we think we're uniquely positioned from an ease of use perspective. And if we were to replace that y-axis with performance, with historical returns, we do think we're up there with the top based on our historical models, what they produced, and looking at the historical models of some of our competitors. We think we are comfortable, if not exceeding those numbers. But again, this is a slide that we want to flesh out a little bit more. Traction, we do have some users today. We have over 100. This number fluctuates based on what the markets are doing, we're finding. So when Bitcoin hit 30K, we saw a little bit more interest, right? Because people tend to gravitate towards crypto in a bull market. And the community members split between Twitter and Discord. It could be stronger, but we think it's pretty healthy. We have a good base to communicate with. We do have some articles across Bitcoinist, Crypto Potato, some other crypto websites, and also the Yahoo Finance article that I mentioned earlier. And then as of this week, we were actually just approved to be in Google Cloud for Startups grant program. So we're actually receiving a monthly grant to host all of our fixed costs and cloud infrastructure on Google Cloud, which is huge for us. It takes a big financial burden off our hands, as we're still in our bootstrap stage. And just closing up here, the revenue model initially was around NFT mints. We're moving into a reoccurring monthly revenue model with fiat subscriptions. And we also are looking to expand that into institutional licenses moving forward. This will help scale customers through offering new exchanges, different products, different features, and really making Satoshi's Index not just a single product, but a suite of products that individual investors and institutional investors can tap into based on the needs of their portfolio and what their long-term investing outlook looks like. So what we're looking for, 400,000 for our pre-seed capital. Most of this is going into development of tech, essentially all the things that we talked about in the previous slide. Operations and marketing will cover the rest. Things like referral program set up. We've got an active newsletter that we're about to ramp up, and so this sort of budget is something that has really prohibited our growth previously. So we think tapping into all of these areas will really help scale the adoption of Satoshi's Index. we introduced ourselves a little bit earlier. And that's it. I know we're about 5 minutes after time, Marianne. So thanks for not cutting us off sooner.
Awesome.